Masters underway. Harding, Scott, Rahm are all tied. The co-leaders 3 under par. Let's go to Augusta and check in with my man Gil Capps from the Golf Channel as he gives us a Masters update and lets us know what to watch for this weekend, as it seems to be a Masters, Gil, filled with storylines. We welcome you back to the show. How you been, pal?
Mike, I'm doing very well. How are you? Happy Masters here.
Yeah, man. And it looks like we've got a good one to start. I mean, Tiger's in the mix. He's playing pretty well. Adam Scott, John Rahm, got some good names at the top of the leaderboard there. And just overall, first off, it always starts with Tiger and how he's looking and what kind of start he's gotten off to see whether he can get to the weekend this time around.
Well, the week started off, he's obviously the number one story here, as he is kind of every tournament he goes into, even though he's just the number 12 ranked player in the world, and he has only one time in the last 5 years. Nevertheless, it is Tiger. And, interestingly, last night at the Golf Writers Association of America dinner, he received the Ben Hogan Award, which is awarded annually to a golfer who's overcome, a severe obstacle in returning to the game and succeeding. Obviously named for the great Ben Hogan, who survived a near-fatal car crash in 1949 and came back to be a great champion, maybe one of the greatest comebacks in sports, and one in which Tiger's comeback is often compared to. And accepting that award last night was a Tiger Woods almost nobody in that room had ever seen or heard. Tiger Woods, who is gracious, who seems like he's being honest, forthright, appreciative of what he has now in his life, his ability to play the game again, his ability to physically active, to be able to do that kind of things you want to do with your kids, his 2 children, and it really was a story of last night when you have the national golf media assembled here, and a lot of people turning to each other, looking at each other like, that's not the Tiger we were used to all those years. And the writers getting up and giving other speeches saying, I take back everything I said about Tiger Woods. It shows you guys, I think, the place he's in, right? We all want, no matter what people's past are, we want everybody to be happy. And Tiger is in that place right now. And I think that reflects his golf. He's not able to work at it like he used to. He used to work at this game. You didn't see it, but he worked at it as much as anybody else. And he's not able to do that anymore, but I think he has a comfort, a peace about himself that's going to let him be more consistent. And I think, I don't think he's going to win on a regular basis. I'm still not convinced he's ever going to win another major again, because these things are 10 times tougher to win than a normal tour event. He wants these things 10 times more than he does a normal tour event. He's been pointing toward this week since last fall. This has been the one on his radar, the first major of the year. So it's kind of those two things. He's in a really good place, I think. He's toned down his swing, hit the ball really well today for the most part. And Tiger's a guy who has not historically gotten off to really good starts here at Augusta National. I mean, only one score under 70 in 22 starts here, but he opens solid today with a 70. And that puts him right there, and obviously sent a lot of excitement through the galleries here at Augusta.
Yeah, he's 2 under to start the day. By the way, for those of you who are just tuning in, Tiger is 2 under, which is 1 stroke off the lead.
Yeah, Gil, I'm wondering, do you suspect that he won't win? He might not win a major again because of the grind that it takes to win a major these days, and his body is not what it once was 10 or 15 years ago, or because even when he's playing at his best now, I mean, he still can miss a fairway. I know he was he dropped from -3 to -2 here. He was in the sand. Does he not, just to you, have that superior skill set compared to everybody else around him like he once was? Or is it both?
Maybe a little bit of both, Jeff. I think the one thing that we kind of forget is, on his first comeback after the little incident Thanksgiving in Orlando 2009, he came back and very successful in 2012, 2013, won 8 events there in a 2-year span. But in majors, he struggled, and he struggled on the weekends big time. He was in position several times to pick up major number 15, and didn't do it when he was much healthier and a little stronger overall game probably. I think it's just a want. It's that's what they say about things. You can want things too bad, and it's not only with Tiger kind of wanting. I don't know. You have to ask him if he thinks realistically that Jack Nicklaus's major record of 18 is still reachable, right? Because Tiger's 43. I mean, if he were to say, he doesn't seem 43. But if he were to win this week, he'd be the second oldest Masters champion ever.
Wow.
In the entire history of the game of golf, only 14 players. There have been something like 447 major championships. Only 14 have been won by guys 43 years and older, and only 2 players have done it twice over that age. So you're talking even more historic proportions if he could somehow win multiple majors going forward. But I think he also wants to win really badly for his 2 kids, right? I mean, they were, I think his oldest Sam was a year old when he won that U.S. Open back in 2008. His youngest Charlie wasn't even born. And you saw the emotion the kids had, at that Open last year at Carnoustie when he came so close. And after the final round, when he's walking back to the clubhouse and they're hugging him and they're kind of in tears. And I think that's a big motivating factor. The older you get, the more scar tissue you get. And I think that nerves, even the greatest of them, it creeps in. It's crept in on Arnold Palmer. It crept in on Tom Watson. It crept in on Ben Hogan and Jack Nicklaus, all of them. And Tiger can do it, but will he do it? Will he be able to get a major? I think maybe if he puts himself in position, maybe he can get some help. Maybe he can do it. Maybe do it once, maybe twice. But to ask for 4, maybe asking a lot down the line.
By the way, we got great tied for 5th is Tiger, Phil, Ricky Fowler. And from being on this show many years, Gil Caps down in Augusta from the Golf Channel, Ricky Fowler's my guy. I've been waiting. Every time I'm in one of these Masters pools or U.S. Open pools, I always include Fowler because one of these times he's going to get it. And I'm wondering, as we've seen this first major, does he have finally the look that he's ready to break through?
Man, that's been the question for a little while, Rob.
About 3 years, man.
I've got to look every tournament.
Years.
And all these pools you've been through. You can look at your wallet and see how many years it's been. We've talked too about Ricky Fowler. What for the game of golf?
What holds him back in your mind? What holds him back that he has not been able to? Because he's always so close. What is it that holds him back?
That's. If you could answer those kind of questions, it'd be easy. You could fix it. I don't know if his problem, and a lot of the times that we see his struggles is not just in majors, it's in regular tour events where he's in the league going to the final round or right there near the top. He struggles. He struggles mightily on Sundays. It's closing the deal and having that kind of confidence and ruthlessness is, I think you can work on it a little bit, and I think you can get it in spades. But I also think some of that's just a trait you're kind of born with and kind of grow up with. I think Ricky's best chance still in a major is somewhat like last year at the Masters, where you're behind and there's a freedom to just go play. There's no pressure on you, right? You haven't been in the media center. You don't have to think of anything. You just know, hey, I'm 5 shots behind. I'm just going to go try to make birdies. It really frees you up. Jack Nicklaus told me one time, he said, it's easier to be 2 strokes back, but I'd rather be 2 strokes ahead. And that's Jack's thinking. But he's thinking for everybody else, it's easier to be behind because you don't have that that expectation of waiting to the last group and all the things that go on to it, and feeling like you have to hold on to a lead. He's been there so much, though, Mike. I really think at some point he's going to do it. Eight top 5 finishes in his career. Now that he's crossed the 30-year-old barrier, it's going to be some time. It could indeed be this week, and he's such a nice guy, such a popular guy, especially with kids. It would be, other than Tiger winning, and obviously Rory would be a really big story, and I'm sure we'll talk about him in a minute, if he were to win and complete the career Grand Slam. But outside of those two, and probably even Phil, I would say Ricky winning would be the biggest story that could be this week.
Quickly for me, Gil, because Mike's guy is Ricky, my guy, and I predicted I picked to win, and he's always, I feel, on the precipice but doesn't get there, is Jason Day. And then I saw, I guess on the first or second hole, it looks like he was getting stretched out by a trainer on the fairway. Did he re-injure the back? It seems like he's still playing. I know he's through 8 or 9 already, but is everything okay with him?
Well, that's the report that we had gotten, was he had tweaked his back either this morning or last night with his kids.
That guy can't catch a break.
Seriously.
Yeah. Listen, he's had a lot of issues over the years with some injuries you're concerned about.
Yeah, it's hard to pick him to win a major because of that.
Other injuries, you kind of think to yourself, what is, is he joking? Does he really have that, or that happened to him? So, almost a little bit of a running joke about, things that you don't have really firsthand knowledge of what's going on. But he's certainly had a bunch, and his ability to keep him healthy too, and that affects your confidence, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes you gotta be able to fight through some of this stuff, and Jason, I think sometimes it's come to if I'm not in a place that I'm 100% comfortable and 100% confident, then maybe I'm not going to choose maybe to give it my all or do my very best at this go around. So, but he had a great year last year, not in the majors, but had a couple of wins, and he's played pretty solid here in the spring coming into this event. So disappointed that he's had any kind of issues today.
All right, Gil Caps on the Golf Channel as we take a look at the Masters. We told you Tiger is one back of the lead. It's been an entertaining first round of the day. And you mentioned Rory. He arrives probably playing some of the best he's played. If he goes on to win this, he would complete the Grand Slam, the European Tour. Next week, if he wins this, they might miss out on him. They're dying for him to come over there. But he had committed to playing over here, and it looks like he's focused on this Masters tournament. So is this the Masters for Rory?
Man, it still could be. He kind of got off to a little bit of a rough start today and has pulled it back. I'm not in front of the TV now, so I'm not watching. Maybe you guys can tell me what he's at there on 18, or if he's finished up
I think he's
yet.
+1.
He's a +1,
yeah.
Which, that doesn't put him out of it. Because obviously not a lot of low scores out there. He's only 4 back. The last 13 Masters champions, though, have shot around under par to open the tournament. And Rory's shot only 1 over par round coming into this week all year. And that was in L.A. back in February. But, the run he's been on with the top 6s and the Players' Championship, when I still don't discount him out, even with a 73, because he's right there. Kind of got up the nerves a little bit today, and he missed a few makeable putts. I think the putting in a short game seemed to let him down today a little bit. But he's a guy, you talk about Ricky Fowler, and I think Rory's a guy who, out of Ricky, can learn from it a little bit, but Rory seemed to kind of has taken a step back a little bit from golf and kind of focus on himself, right? And what can I do to make myself happy? And what I shoot and what I do on the golf course is not who I am and doesn't define me. He's been really big into self-help books I think that I think juggling studios around the country would see an increase in the number of students here. If you were to win this week, juggling's become a big thing for Rory, just to take his mind off things. So I think he realizes that a lot of golf is mental. A lot of it is about feeling like you're in the right place and are comfortable, and that can extend to being confident. When you're at this level, guys, and you're, I've been in the golf business a long time, but I'm by no means a great golfer, and I'm by no means an expert on swings and techniques. But you go down any range at any professional event, and you look at all these guys hitting the golf ball, you're like, well, they're all good. And they are. What differentiates that guy from that guy and that guy from and there's little things that kind of do things. Their power, things are with the ball, short games, but above all, what I think the difference that makes between those really really top guys and successful guys and the guys who are just kind of earning a living is what's between their ears.
No doubt.
And that's as great as Tiger was. All of those years, as gifted as he was, as hard as he worked on his game, he's won 80 tour events and 14 majors and everything else with his mind.
And people think that he's lost that, like the people aren't fearful of him anymore, and that's what one of the things that him losing that also allowed others to overcome it.
Absolutely. We talked when he had the accident and came back, and then he's had the back and what other issues that were happening with the DUI. But when you lose that edge in golf, it's hard to get back. The one guy who really never, ever had anything happen that he lost his edge was Jack Nicklaus. And that's why so many people consider him still to be the greatest, and that's why he was competitive kind of throughout his 40s at times and even into his 50s. And so that's been the challenge to Tiger, to kind of get that edge back, not only for himself and in his mind, right, but it's in the other guys' minds as well. And he took a step back. Last time we were in Georgia for the Tour Championship into September, getting that win kind of took that little step toward that. And we'll see if he can do it. I would, when you have guys like that, right? When you have guys like Tiger Woods, have guys like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Roger Federer, all those guys, I would never say no to anything, even if history and the game and requirements of the game lean toward no. You can't with somebody who's that great.
Gil Capps, the Golf Channel. The Masters is underway, and we'll have it for you. Final round coverage on Sunday on 97.3 begins at 2 o'clock. Gil, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mike and Jeff.